What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's been a very long time, and I appreciate all you guys and all the new subscribers. It's been pretty dry recently, and so I just wanted to jump back on here and kind of do a debrief. If you are a friend of mine or follow me on social media, you probably know about my last post. It was talking about a medical emergency that happened while I was working. If you don't know, my name is Michael. I work as an executive protection agent out in California, United States. And just wanted to break this down. I wanted to kind of talk about some points and recall what happened. I was working a security detail. And again, for context, this person was not my protectee. This person was not a client. This person was just an attendee of the venue. There was about 1,200 people there. I was a part of the overall security posture and with multiple layers. I'm going to give my raw account, my raw kind of recollection of this, and then kind of bring it home with some points. What I can remember is, first off, it was multiple hours into the evening, to the day, and I remember my partner for the day, along with third-party security and in-house security. I was away from the entrance at one point, and I looked over at my partner, and his eyes opened wide and he was like, "Oh shoot, dude, grab your bag." The bag he is referring to was a bag, if you've seen me in normal everyday life, or if you've seen my EDC video, what bodyguards carry, that's the bag. I use it every day for work. I use it every day for, just my family life. And I keep everything practically the same because of redundancy. I think it's important that if you're going to have an EDC that, things are in the right place all the time, so that in the dark, I can open my bag and understand and be confident and know where things are, as you should. Anyway, he said, "Grab your bag." In that moment, from 1 to 5 seconds, it felt maybe like 5 seconds, I'm not sure. At least from 1 to 5 seconds, I didn't know there's a protest outside. I didn't know if it was a GSW. I didn't know if it was a stabbing. I didn't know the initial context. Also, there was a 10B on property. 10B refers to like the local law enforcement's code for off-duty officer, or a cop who's doing overtime was also there outside somewhere. So technically we did have law enforcement there right away, but as executive protection, as security personnel, sometimes you are the first responder. You're there right away, and sometimes there's no chance to say, "Hey, can we premeditate this and say, you have medical." Sometimes in teams it's set up that way, sometimes it's not, and sometimes you just have to get to it because you're the first one there. This older man had been walking. Again, it was into the evening. He was walking a block and a half, and fell. I tried to break his fall, just, I'm sure like everyone would, with his hand, and he said that he might have broken his finger. There was blood from the top of his head to his neck, and so initially seeing him, I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on. Could have been a GSW, could have been a stabbing. he then was actually coherent. He was actually being able to talk and say that he fell. Looking at him, there was a really big gash on his head, and the wound was pretty deep. The lighting in the venue was excellent, so I was able to see right away, just by staring at him, that it was pretty bad. I initially gloved up using what I had in my bag initially. I then directed the house security director to grab their med kit. At that time, I didn't really know what it looked like, but they had a substantial kit from My Medic, which is a reputable brand, I'll say, that I've seen, in the industry, and that guys have and families have. And I just kind of took initiative. I was the one who was on point, and I was the one who was rendering aid to him directly. The second agent that I was with, I had asked him to be my assistant. I also had asked the in-house security to be my assistant as well. This is kind of where I think the teaching comes in. The initial kit that they brought me was very bare, so I was rummaging through my bag to look for supplies I knew I had. Within that time, the in-house security brought a bigger pack, and so I said, okay, I'll use yours. And so I'm telling this person, okay, I need pressure bandage, I need butterfly bandages, I need just some like antiseptic wipes to wipe the blood. And in that moment, I noticed he didn't really know what supplies I was asking for. So there's that. Secondarily, my the second agent, runs to his car and grabs another bag that was his personal, that he has as some contingency, prep plan for himself and emergencies. And that had a lot of great supplies in it, in which, thank you. If you get to watch this and see this, thank you for being prepared. We grabbed some wound closure kits from the My Medic bag, which had super glue in it. I asked permission. I asked the patient if this is what he had wanted. He stated, do what you need to do. I went through 2 of those super glues because the glue was all dried up inside. They weren't at all able to really be used. So I told them that it wasn't working. I just want to point something out. And side note, I used to work in the surgery department before I got into EP. I've been in and got to watch surgery, and I remember a surgeon one time had stated that one of the instruments that was being used wasn't working properly. Now in the hospital, they can get different instruments again, that are our placement instrument to then supplement what they're doing. But if a patient's already on the table, all patients are already being worked on, I mean, you're wasting a lot of time, you're wasting energy, you're wasting resources, because that thing did not work at that right time, which it should have. And again, I think that just goes to show that if you're going to have medical gear with you, you need to understand how it works, and you need to understand that things expire. And so routinely, monthly, yearly, whatever, checking your gear, making sure that you know it works, making sure things are not expired. And it just happens. Things get weathered, and things sit for a long time. From hot and cold weather, things deteriorate. but just be responsible in rotating your meds, rotating, all those things that need to be rotated, because when you need it the most, in those seconds, that's what matters. I told him, hey sir, this is my name. I'm trained in TECC, which is the civilian version of TCCC. TECC stands for Tactical Emergency Casualty Care. TCCC, if you're in the military and law enforcement, I'm sure you know what that is. That stands for Tactical Combat Casualty Care. I told him, hey, I'm going to help you. Blah, 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 blah. He's like, do what you need to do. My partner placed a splint on his finger because he had said it was possibly broken. And then I started working on his head. Things happened quickly. Everything was actually okay. We ended up calling the 10B, just the off-duty officer. He came in. He was the one who actually radioed code 3 to ambulance, fire, and EMS, so they all converged on our position right away after that. But at least the first 4 minutes, no one was called. And so even with the specific resources there, sometimes you're it. Sometimes it's just you. Sometimes you might have a person with you who doesn't know. And I believe whether you're doing it professionally, whether you're a mom, whether you're a father, whether you're a babysitter, whether you're just a normal person, I think especially nowadays in today's climate, I think learning some medical would be a fantastic family bonding skill to know, or even if you're just one of those go-getters and you want to learn something new, I think knowing Stop the Bleed is fantastic. I say all this to say, as a recollection, as I'm recalling this, one, if you're going to carry medical and some tools, I really hope that you maintain those things, and you're on a rotation and you know what your ability is. Secondarily, have an understanding. Be confident in yourself and the skills, because when you need it the most, it's like you don't really have time. Everything went well, and I just want to say thank you to the first responders, the officer who was there, the partner I had for that day. We acted calmly. We squared it away. We found work. It's not like no one was lollygagging around. I think I took enough initiative to command the room and say, here's what I want and here's what we need. And it was fantastic. And I'm not saying I was fantastic. As a whole, the team, the first responders who were there, we did what we needed to do to get aid to this patient. That's really it. I just wanted to give you a raw feedback and kind of recollection of what happened, and some of the things that we can take away that really, as I'm speaking, is a reminder to me, is a reminder to hopefully you guys as well, that you don't have to be a neurosurgeon to do this. I'm not, and so I think it's just a great skill to know, whether you're gonna just happen to use it because your kid falls at the park, or you really are in this profession, or if not, just everyday life. I hope that you guys take this and do as you will with it. Hopefully this motivates you to do a class. Hopefully this motivates you to ask questions. If you have any questions or comments or whatever, put them down there. I try and comment back, and if there's any details I missed that you guys want to know, let me know. But thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for responding on the comments and being active, because communication is key, especially in times like this. And guys, be great, be safe, and always watch your 6. Have a good one, guys. Thank you.